The following is an exclusive presentation of WI Garden Media, the voice of Garden Talk Radio. Coming up on the program today, we're going to go over bugs that are good inside your house, as well as the proper way to store your harvest. Our guest is Allyson, Levy, and Scott Serrano, and we'll answer your garden questions. It's the 200th episode, broadcasting right now.
You're listening to the most informationally packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
And welcome to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show. Happy you've taken time out of your day to join us on the program. Whether you're listening to us on one of the 18 AM and FM frequencies broadcasting our program here in 2022 through a radio app, through our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, underneath the radio season 6 tab. Podcast replay, in-studio video replay. We thank you very much for tuning in. We are happy to announce this is our 200th original broadcast of this program over the course of 6.5 years. We do 35 shows a year, so you do the math. That puts us at 200 right now. We're happy that you've been a part of it. It's maybe your first time listening or your 200th time listening, however that might be. Thank you very much. If you want to be part of the program, you can join us. What?
You can intro us.
Yeah, I will get to that.
Okay.
If you want to join us and be part of the program, you can do that by two different avenues. GardenTalkRadio@gmail.com, or you can give us a call at 1-800-927-SHOW on the Proclamation Hotline, brought to you by Proclamation Goods. I will get to the intro now. I am Joey Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
The Proclamation Hotline, brought to you by Proclamation Goods. Again, that number, easy to remember, free, coast to coast. It's 1-800-927-SHOW, S-H-O-W, 1-800-927-SHOW. Holly, the Proclamation Hotline. What is Proclamation?
Proclamation Goods creates cookware for the eco-conscious home chef. Their pans are non-toxic, have a lifetime warranty, and are made in Wisconsin. Their award-winning stainless steel Proclamation Duo cookware set is a 12-inch skillet and a stock pot that doubles as a wok. Best of all, the skillet and stock pot hinge together to form a Dutch oven. It's two pans with the versatility of 10, empowering you to cook more with less. If you care about your health and strive for a more sustainable lifestyle, then Proclamation Goods is for you. Supply is limited, so order is now at proclamationgoods.com.
Beautifully cooks up salmon patties and any type of thing, but and
green beans.
Green beans. We've cooked
and
up
eggs.
You do eggs a lot in it. Yeah, we've cooked salmon patties frequently here in the last couple of weeks, and does phenomenal. Anything you throw at it does a really wonderful job in cooking your food. Well, there are people who do their due diligence to get bugs out of their home. There are people who do not care if there's bugs in their home. Well, we're going to go over a handful of bugs that if they're in your home, it's not a bad thing. It's kind of a good thing. So we're going to start with the pill bug, Holly, or known as roly-polies.
And some people call them potato bugs.
Okay.
And they're not even a bug.
What are they? Crustacean?
They are crustacean,
okay.
Yeah. So it's, I guess, more of like a crab than an ant.
If you touch it, it turns into a ball. It looks like an armadillo that's rolled up into a ball, basically.
Yeah. And they are, they're I don't know. They're not harmful to you. They like moisture. A lot of times you'll find them in your basement.
Okay.
Spiders eat them.
Spiders will eat the pill bugs. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I remember when I was a kid.
Oh, another Holly story.
I used to want to look at the bugs, collect the bugs. I would turn over rocks, like where in our yard or whatever, stones or slabs of land and stone here in Wisconsin, and I would find we call them potato bugs. You call them roly-polies.
Right.
Other people call them pill bugs, and I always liked it because they would roll into their roly-poly ways, and then you could kind of move them along. And then I'm sure after I was done poking along and then they were on the sidewalk, they probably crawled back underneath wherever.
Right.
So, yeah.
I know some people like your stories, but they're really starting to go downhill for me. You had birch tree, bark tree at store. Worms. And now you got pill bugs.
I was a very curious child.
Okay.
And I just like to explore around me, and
I am not impressed.
Roly-polies were one of those things that if you lifted the rocks, you could find them.
Well, but they're not dangerous. They're not going to bite you if they're in your home.
No, they're fine. They're not going to do anything. They're pretty harmless, and they don't spread diseases. They don't contaminate foods. If you do have, they like organic type garbage. So like maybe if you have some
things are not as clean as they should be.
Yeah, or like I don't know. I've never seen them in our house, and we have all these plants.
Right.
So I'm not really sure if maybe if you live in a more damp climate, you might find them more in your home or in your basement.
Yeah, and a very unique feature of these crustaceans is their ability to safely remove heavy metals from your soil. So if you have them in your garden, have them in your containers, that's good. Even if you don't have heavy metals, if you haven't got a soil test or you know there's lead or whatever in the soil, they can remove that from your soil. So a very beneficial aspect of them. If you find them, I mean, some people are probably going to kill them, but you can put them outside if you really want to. Silverfish. The silverfish is another one in which you can find in your home. Holly, what is the characteristics of this?
Well, they're kind of a silvery color. They have kind of a fish shape. I think they have little
antennas.
Yeah. They date back to the Paleozoic era. So in 400 million years, they haven't changed much, and you'll find them a lot in your bathroom. I found a couple in the bathroom recently. Well, maybe more in the spring. They also like moisture. And then our cat, he found one on the wall the other day, and I don't know what happened to it.
I'm sure he ate it. They're not harmful to humans. They can cause damage to clothing, books, paper, food in particular. The wallpaper, silverfish leaves small holes in materials. Their bite and may also cause yellow staining on your clothes, but overall, not a terrible thing in your home.
Yeah, I remember when I was a kid growing up.
Here we go.
It's not really a story.
Oh, okay.
But we did have silverfish sometimes, especially around the bathroom.
Right.
Yeah.
The stink bug you may find in your home, and it is what is prevalent. I remember this. Prevalent whenever harvesting soybeans in the field, the hopper and the wagon.
Is this a Joey story?
It's just educational.
Just
that's
educational.
all. Yeah. And when you step on them or smash them, they do emit a very stinky aroma.
Yeah. Now,
they're native to China, Japan, Korea, and other Asian regions.
They're invasive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was. It's one of those things. They're not harmful, but they are annoying. They do fly, and then if you have animals, as much as they may want to eat them or mess with them, I would not advise that to be healthy.
You let Tex mess with them.
I know, but I watch him.
Yeah.
To explain who Tex is.
Tex is our cat.
Okay, and he's a tuxedo cat.
He's a tuxedo cat.
So it's not like we have a child and we name Tex, okay? Some people have a child named Tex, which is fine, but we want to clarify that is our house cat.
And he loves bugs.
He will eat anything. He will stand for hours licking bugs off the floor if he can find one.
And we're not really sure if there's bugs there or not. He just thinks he sees something.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So stink bugs, not good, but not bad in your home.
But Tex has these meaty paws.
Yeah.
We call them his manly meat paws. And so like Joey will help him try to get spiders, and he just whacks at them, but he doesn't really successfully kill them.
Because he doesn't have thumbs.
He's kind of clumsy, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the story about Tex.
Centipedes.
Centipedes are evil.
Okay.
They're not evil. They're just centipedes. Centipede means 100 legs,
yes.
but they have 15 to 177 pairs of legs, and they crawl really fast. They're not harmful to humans. They're just creepy, and then usually they come out at night. They like to live more along your baseboards, things like that, damp areas. They do have poisonous jaws, but they cannot bite humans. Like they don't have enough ability to bite a human. They creep me out.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't care for centipedes. I remember when I was a kid, I've worn glasses a long time, and Joey makes fun of me because of this sometimes. But I remember I was taking a shower and I thought it was like a clump of hair by the drain, but it was a centipede
Probably found more in the older homes than modern.
I grew up in an old home.
Right, more than
and it freaked me out. So, if you don't like centipedes, then we can be friends.
Well, let's go down the weevil. Now, weevil can be found in flowers and flower material. Weevil is a very detrimental insect to the wheat. Whenever harvesting wheat, we would take, it was a chemical, as a pellet, and you would go and you would insert it into the top of the grain bin or the granary, wherever the seed was at, and you would shove it down as far as you could, and it would emit this aroma. I don't know if it was what it was, but it was a toxic fume which would kill any weevil that would be in the wheat, because weevil will eat the internal portions of the grain out, and then you've got a shell, and it's worth nothing because the weevils have devastated the grain. So whether it was an ammonia or some sort, but it was a white pellet that you shoved in, and that's how you did it after a certain period of time from harvest to kill anything that was in that wheat. You will find this in your cornbread, in your bags of flour, anything like that. It's not harmful. It can be humanly consumed without any issue. It may be difficult for you to eat something knowing that there are bugs in there, but you can do that without any issue. What are the things here about weevils? 45,000 different kinds of beetles, making the largest of the animal kingdom. I guess, okay, weevil is a beetle, not so much an insect.
Yeah, well, that's still a beetle.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can eat the flour.
You could probably sift it and to get some of the larger pieces. These are very tiny black dots that you would see in your flour.
Right. And you and I have.
And we've tossed it. Yeah, we've eaten, but we've also tossed it out. I mean, at a certain period of time, even though the flour is sifted and put in there, weevil eggs are potentially in these flour, because they're so small you can't filter them out. So as creepy and icky as that sounds, the weevil egg, if kept in the right conditions in the flour bag, that will hatch, and then that's when you have the weevils in your flour. And if they don't have any, if it's just powder flour, they have nothing to eat, and that's why they will die, and you'll see a whole bunch of dead weevil in your flour.
I wonder if that's why they tell you, they tell you not to eat raw flour because I think of salmonella.
They don't. Yeah, possibly that, and eggs and everything else. So it's But those are some bugs that.
Well, I want to talk about spiders real quick.
Okay, go ahead and talk about spiders. Yes.
Most spiders in your home are, unless you live in an area that has a high population of like brown recluses or black widows, whatever. Most spiders though are harmless, and they will kill all these other bad bugs.
They'll make the web and catch the mosquitoes that get in the house or the flies or anything else. Yeah.
Now, when I find a spider that looks like it belongs outside, maybe it looks a little bit camouflagey or something.
Too red flaggy.
Too red flaggy. Yeah. Too little rough and tough for the indoors. I do relocate it to the outdoors, but for the most part, we just leave them be.
So there you go. If you've got questions about what might be in your house bug-wise, send it over. Take a picture. Send it over to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Another thing in which you can have in your home is quality meat that you've made from Walton's Incorporated tools and supplies.
Right. We know, right now it's canning time, preserving time, and we know that you care about where your food comes from. At Walton's, you can get all the equipment.
Well, in a homestead, it's butchering time all the time.
Yes. You can get all the equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, any other meat product your way to your high standards. You want to make snack sticks that people will like. Walton's created meatgiststicks.com, an informational site to help you make the best finished product. Walton's has a full line of meat grinders, mixers, sausage stuffers to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's everything but the meat. You can use code GROW50, GROW50, to save 10% off orders of $50 or more and get free shipping.
Walton's Inc. Go there. They have pages for days that you can find anything that you need, whether you are a butcher or not. If you need kitchen material, kitchen items, kitchen tools, they have that for you as well. Hang out with us. Moments away, we'll be discussing the proper way to handle and store the harvest that's coming out of your garden. You're listening to The Garden with Joey and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Japanese beetles show up in summer for a feeding frenzy in your garden, and they are the worst party guest, feeding on leaves, then laying eggs in your lawn for next year. Japanese beetles can decimate your plants and trees. Protect your plants with Japanese beetle traps from Rescue. New this year, Rescue has refill lures to use the same trap again the next year. Made in the USA by the makers of the popular Rescue Fly and Yellow Jacket traps. Learn more at rescue.com. That's RESCUE.com. Take the guesswork out of composting with hot bin composting. Quickly break down food scraps within 30 to 90 days. Find out more at hotbincomposting.com. Hey gardeners, it's that time of growing season, so let's start canning. Head over to Fleet Farm for all of your canning supplies and jam mixes. In one easy stop, find everything you need, like jars, lids, canners, strainers, racks, spatulas, and funnels from top brands like Ball and Kerr. Plus, pick up mixes, sugar, and more. When it comes to canning, get everything you need at your canning headquarters, Fleet Farm. This week's garden tip is sponsored by the amazing Dr. Zymes. Eliminate and prevent garden pests with their 100% all-natural, all-in-one insecticide and fungicide. Experience powerful natural protection from insects, fungus, mold, and mildew. Try a free sample. Visit drzymes.com/garden talk. The amazing Dr. Zymes is non-toxic, which means you do not need special clothing when using or handling it. No need for long sleeves, a respirator, special gloves, or even a whole hazmat suit. You can safely apply without concern for what may happen to your skin or your plants. And it's highly concentrated, so a little goes a long way. Eliminates mites, thrifts, aphids, and fungal gnats. Dr. Zymes is OMRI listed, safe up to the day of harvest, and doesn't leave a residue. Safe for you and your plants. That helpful garden tip was sponsored by the amazing Dr. Zymes. Eliminate and prevent garden pests with their 100% all-natural, all-in-one insecticide and fungicide. Experience powerful natural protection from insects, fungus, mold, and mildew. Try a free sample. Visit drzymes.com/garden talk. Thanks for listening to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. As you've heard through the program, many companies offering coupon codes to help you save on great products. If you've missed any of those coupon codes, you can go to our parent website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com, and click on the Money tab at the top of the page, and they're all listed for you. The Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Pro Plugger, Chip Drop, Bellbuster, Johnny Appleseed, Ivy Organic, Milkweed Balm, Walton's Incorporated, Bloomin' Easy Plants, Jung Seeds. Find all sponsors at thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. It's our 200th broadcast of this program over the course of 6.5 years, 35 shows a year. We thank you for being a supporting listener of the program and just being with us for the show. Holly, got a question for you.
Okay.
A lot of people plant trees, shrubs, that type of thing, right?
Yes.
And those are not cheap investments, right?
No, it's an investment.
So if you forget to water or you don't have the rain to water and it dies, that's pretty big matzo ball in the wallet there. Not much, pretty big loss.
Yes.
Tree diaper can fix that. If you use a tree diaper, it's going to water the plant for you over the course of 30 days and save the investment for a lifetime.
Correct. Tree diaper is a revolutionary watering system that slowly releases water on the base of any tree or plant as the soil dries. The tree diaper is filled with water from rain or when you water and slowly releases water over 3 weeks' time. So you don't need any pipes, hoses, electricity, no more overwatering, underwatering, guessing. Water your plants and trees, whether they are by the house, down the road, or in the back 40. Also works under mulch. Whether you're a first-time gardener or advanced tree diaper will improve the way you water your plants. Made in the USA, you can find all the sizes they have available at treediaper.com. That's treediaper.com.
Yeah, indoors, outdoors, patio, porch, backyard, back 40, wherever you got a plant. Works great on vegetables, too. We've been using it in our vegetable garden for 2 years, and it's done a phenomenal job in order allowing us to have produce in places where we would not have otherwise.
Yeah, it did good with some squash last year.
Yes.
Something else. Brussels sprouts.
Brussels sprouts did phenomenal. So as you are getting items out of your garden, we're going to talk about what to do correctly. Now, you may be doing it correctly now, but you may not be. So we're going to go over several points here to help your harvest better once it's been removed from the garden.
So here's something that I learned, I think, from you, actually.
Oh, from me? Mm-hmm. Well, somebody write that up. We'll put it on the fridge.
First of all, I learned a lot of things from you.
Okay.
Right. So anyway, it's to leave dirt on your root crops.
Right.
So whether it be anything from your carrots to your radishes to your beets, if you're not going to eat them and process them right away, leave the dirt on them.
It creates a barrier between the vegetable or the root crop and the air. True enough, it will begin to dry out. But by wiping this or rinsing the dirt off of that particular item, you're going to accelerate that air to fruit or root much quicker, and it will dry out. So leaving the dirt on it, potatoes, carrots, radishes, that type of thing. But also now, in addition to that, if you're doing like radishes, if you harvest a radish today and you put it on your counter, by tomorrow it'll be shriveled up tinier than you ever knew it could possibly be. You want to put that in an airtight container or bag and put it in your fridge. That will hold, and then just add a little bit of water in that to allow moisture to be in there so it doesn't dry out. And you got to use it, pretty quick, or process it or store it, in that manner. You just can't leave it there for weeks on end. Potatoes and beets, you can. Radishes, carrots, not so much.
Right, exactly. So
and the size of the fruit the size of the item makes a tremendous difference on how quick it will dry out or shrivel up.
Absolutely. So another thing is you want to keep tomatoes and potatoes out of the fridge.
Get them out of there.
So potatoes, it changes the sugar content and the molecular starches of it. And then tomatoes, I'm not sure why we don't want to keep tomatoes.
It loses the sweetness.
Oh, okay, that's what it is. So that also changes the sugar content. And they're both part of the nightshade family,
right.
So maybe that's something to do with it. But you can keep peppers in the fridge,
right? But keep this in mind: if you are harvesting, pick an item, and you harvest it from outside where it lived, and you bring it indoors and you want to put it in the fridge, think about how it was grown. Potatoes, tomatoes, peppers, eggplants, that type of thing. You don't have to, shove it in the fridge right as soon as you get home. You can leave it on the counter in your climatized home. It's going to be a little cooler than outside, but you don't have to, figure out what to do with it. It lived outside for 80 or 90 days just fine, the plant, and then a couple, probably a month when it was getting larger, if it was a tomato, other things. So, keep that in mind. How was it grown outside? And you don't have to, you can kind of mimic that indoors or in your garage.
You can also look at what in the grocery store, right?
Yeah.
The potatoes are not in the refrigerated section. The tomatoes aren't either.
No.
So you want to keep that in mind. Another one is keep squash in a cool, dry place. This includes your winter squash, your summer squash. You want to eat that fairly quickly, but the winter squash,
pumpkins, spaghetti squash, acorn.
Yeah.
All of those. Now, I have, and we have done this. We have grew zucchini, and we've got it fairly large, 4 or 5 pound zucchini. And we've kept it through winter to, I think, as late as the first week in March, the following year. And we just kept it just like we did with the winter squash. It was large enough that it didn't dry out. But by that point in March, it was getting dry on the inside. So you kind of had to add the spices and the seasoning with a lot of butter and a little bit of oil in order to get it palatable. But it was palatable at that point. But again, you should probably eat it much sooner than 7 months after you've harvested it, especially with the winter squash on that. Parboiling or blanching or freezing your items.
Right. So before we get into that, I'm just going to mention there's a few things that you can do where you don't have to parboil, blanch, or
what is parboil versus blanch?
That's like the same thing.
Okay. Yeah. And freeze, we all know what that is.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you have a lot of onions or zucchini and you want to save them, but you don't want to, as I said here, parboil or blanch them, you can just chop them up and freeze them.
Okay.
Now, if you're going to put it like in a stew or a soup or something, if it's something that you want to You can do it with probably peppers as well.
Yeah, peppers you can.
Yeah. To put in maybe some chili or soup, because it is going to, once you thaw it, if you just freeze it directly, once you thaw it, it's going to get a little mushy. But if you're just using it to add to a soup, that's going to.
But if you think you're going to pull it out and then pan fry it like you would a right out of the garden piece of zucchini, not going to happen.
No, this is stuff that you're adding to some sort of soup or something, or even like a roast or whatnot. So just keep that in mind. It's going to get mushy. Now, if you want to keep the shape and integrity of the vegetable, then you can do something called parboiling. It's where you boil something just for about a minute, then you put it directly into an ice bath. But that process allows it, once you freeze it, to kind of keep its natural vegetable state.
And real quick, if you got a lot of zucchini and you don't know what to do with it, look up mock zucchini. Or mock pineapple you use with zucchini. You can go to our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, put in mock zucchini, which you infuse.
Mock pineapple.
Mock pineapple. I keep getting that confused. Mock pineapple, you're taking zucchini, infusing pineapple juice, canning it, and whenever you get it done, people would bet millions of dollars that you actually canned pineapple, not zucchini. So mock pineapple. Mock pineapple is what you need to search for. All right, melons, eat those right away. I mean, you probably got a week, but I mean, you're not going to have long-term shelf life for a cantaloupe or muskmelon or watermelon.
Didn't we try to freeze watermelon once?
I don't.
Or something like that?
We tried. I don't remember. I know we did something. We tried to do something with the juice, and I don't remember. It's too far gone to remember. It didn't end well. I know that.
Yeah, it wasn't like.
I know when we tried to make lettuce soup, that was a terrible experiment. That didn't end well.
No.
Don't make lettuce soup.
No, please don't.
You could dehydrate lettuce. We've done that on a very small level that you can like throw into a soup or stew, but it's just better to eat it in a salad as soon as you get it. It's as bad as it sounds. Lettuce soup. Now somebody's probably going, "I love lettuce soup." Well, good for you. I'm proud of you. Have at it. We don't like it.
All right. So anyway,
stone fruit can be fruit. What is stone fruit first?
Peach, nectarine, plum, anything that has that pit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so that can be frozen or canned.
Right. You can freeze it. You can can it. You have to peel it, but you can do
for
both.
Canning and for freezing, or just for canning? Could you just do quarters and put it in the freezer with the skin on?
Could. Yeah.
Okay. The skin will
probably
probably
get kind of rubbery.
Right. The skin will probably get a little rubbery there. Many things can be done with apples and pears. I mean, we've done segments where we've gone over 11, 12, 13 different things you can do, from applesauce to juice to whole canning them just in chunks and everything in between. Sauces, yeah. So many things. Onions and garlic can be cooled and kept in a cool place, or you can actually dehydrate them. Now, if you're going to dehydrate onions to turn them into the stringy onions you would put on top of green bean casserole, during Thanksgiving, it's identical. However, you want to make sure you do this in a ventilated area, attic, garage, barn. If you got in-laws in your house that you want gone, that would be the time you would want to do this, because it will infuse the entire house. Holly, you remember this. We did this in the kitchen, and we very quickly had to
we had to move it
to the attic, which we have a stairway to the attic. It was
intense.
It was intense, yeah.
Yeah. It was a very loud. It was a loud smell.
But the dehydrated onions were phenomenal. They were great.
They were. Yes.
And you can do the same thing with garlic and turn it into garlic powder. So keep those in mind. There were some things.
What did we do with those dehydrated onions?
I'm sure we ate them.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we have?
No, but I feel like we did something.
Like a dish?
Perhaps. I don't know.
Well, perhaps you've got Japanese beetles in your yard. It's summertime. We're still in summer. It's still hot. And the Japanese beetles are not leaving us yet. So they're wreaking havoc on your garden. So let's take care of them with some Beetle Gone, Holly.
Yeah, if you're looking to successfully control beetles without damaging the environment, look no further than Beetle Gone from Phylum Bioproducts, derived from a naturally occurring soil bacteria. Beetle Gone is the only organic solution that successfully controls beetle invaders. Just mix the powder with water and spray it on your plants. Once ingested, the targeted pests will stop feeding and die. And since it's an organic BT product that is a great choice to use on your fruits and veggies in addition to your ornamental flowers and trees.
Not only does Beetle Gone work, but it is the only product that is safe to be used around beneficial insects such as ladybugs, butterflies, and bees, and has zero water toxicity. Beetle Gone from phyllumbioproducts.com. That's beetlegone.com. It's a win-win for everybody except for the Japanese beetles, which is who you want to lose. You can use coupon code GardenTalk10 at checkout to save 10% on your order at beetlegone.com. Again, that coupon code to get 10% off your order is GardenTalk10. Hang out with us. When we come back, our guest will be Allyson, Levy, and Scott Serrano, authors of a brand new book. You're listening to the Gardening with Joey and Holly radio show.
Have a garden question? Give Joey and Holly a call now or anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-SHOW. If you can't get through, leave a message and they will call you back. Call now 1-800-927-SHOW.
Do you have nuts or fruit in your yard? A Nut Wizard is a handy, effective tool that will pick up round or oval tree produce quickly and easily, leaving debris behind for a clean harvest. A Nut Wizard tool saves your back and your time. Visit nutwizard.com for more information.
Jung Seed Company is a family-owned and operated gardening company since 1907 with the largest selection of seeds and plants online. Use code 10TG22 to receive 10% off your order at jungseed.com. That code again is 10TG22.
Chip Drop is a website. You can sign up for free wood chip mulch delivery right to your door for free. Chip Drop connects homeowners and gardeners with tree services who are trying to get rid of their wood chips. You can also sign up to get free logs and firewood. Go to chipdrop.com to learn more and sign up for a free account.
A non-selective herbicide that is also USDA certified? You bet. No More Weeds by Naturally Green Products. The same great company that brings you no more bugs, no more weeds. Kills weeds with no harsh chemicals, no glyphosate. No More Weeds is a commercial-grade vinegar base with a proprietary sticking agent. Great around pools, decks, patios, etc. Visit natgreenproducts.com, enter promo code WEEDS, WEEDS, and buy 3 1-gallon size units. Get the 4th one free.
Thanks for listening to the Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show. As you've heard through the program, many companies offering coupon codes to help you save on great products. If you've missed any of those coupon codes, you can go to our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and click on the Money tab at the top of the page, and they're all listed for you. The Gardening with Joe and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Rootmaker, Dripworks, Pomona Universal Pectin, Phylum Bioproducts, Tree Diaper, Chapin Manufacturing Incorporated, Deer Defeat, Water Hoop. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. It's our 200th episode over the course of 6 years. Happy that we have achieved this goal, and hopefully there's many more years to come, as well as Simple Grow. Simple Grow is a product in which you can put and feed around your plants or grow plants in. It's 100% worm castings.
Are you worrying about your plant growth? Provide your plants with what they need to grow their potential. Simple Grow offers 100% organic worm castings at simplegrow.com. Unlike other worm casting products, when you order from Simple Grow, you're getting 100% organic worm castings, not filler plus castings. You can promote your ideal soil structure and aeration with Simple Grow all-natural odor-free worm castings. There's only one ingredient, worm castings. No chemicals or additives will seep into your food. It doesn't smell like other fertilizers for indoor and outdoor use. By the bag, bundle, or truckload. Check out what Simple Grow 100% worm castings can do for your plant and order today at simplegrow.com.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. And yes, gardener, you can get your plants happy and healthy and get them growing better with Simple Grow from simplegrow.com. Well, Holly, let's go to the Proclamation Hotline, brought to you by Proclamation Goods, and bring in our guest for this week.
Allyson, Levy, and Scott Serrano are the co-founders and directors of the Hortus Arboretum and Botanical Gardens in Hudson Valley, New York. They also are authors of a new book, Hold Hardy Fruits and Nuts. Welcome to the program.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you for inviting us on the show.
Well, we are excited to have you on. We're going to learn some things here. I'll start with you, Allyson. How did you go from a hobby garden to a botanical garden and a nursery? How did that transition happen?
Well, actually, it kind of just happened, to be honest with you. We started planting originally for artwork, and we were putting plants in. I was doing it for seeds and flower petals and leaves. Scott he was interested in entomology and was attracting certain insects. And there was a point in time that I realized that we were putting in the same plant just in different areas of our property. And that was one of the moments where we realized that perhaps we should be planting a little bit more diversely and have multiple cultivars of several different types. And that was the point where we just started organizing and being really thoughtful about the plants that we were getting. So technically we're a level 2 arboretum, which means that we keep pretty good records about the woody taxa that we have in the gardens. Although we're not per se a nursery, we always have plants that we're propagating, and that's partially for those plants help the nonprofit garden and help us keep things maintained and have a small staff.
Well, I guess what I would say is, and you can correct me, some of the best destinations are journeys that you didn't know you were going in that direction.
Exactly. It's that one step forward and then, oh, look what we have here. Right. So yes, you said that very well, Joey.
Fantastic. So Scott, what is the ecosystem like in your garden altogether, and what type of plants do you have throughout? Is there a theme? Is it varied? Tell us more about it.
Our general surrounding is that we're in a hardwood mixed deciduous forest about 2 hours north of New York State, Zone 6.
New York City,
New York City. And we basically carved a garden in the middle of that. So we've tried to plant as much diversity as we can. Originally, it was fruit trees from all over the world, but then it became magnolia trees and viburnums and buckeye trees, and it just kind of exploded. It's sort of like I always say it's a hobby that went out of control, basically. And I don't know, we put in, maybe close to 10,000 plants, something like that. Everything from small things, to perennials, to bushes, shrubs, trees. So yeah, diversity.
And we have collections throughout the garden. So we'll have, as Scott had just mentioned, a magnolia collection where in that genus we'll have maybe 25 different species. And we have a hardy cactus area, wildflower area.
And then we have an area of China, cold hardy plants from China. Then we have a Japanese area.
A Japanese shade garden.
And then we have a couple different native plant areas that focus on different aspects of native wild plants. So diversity.
Whenever you guys decide to go with it, you decide to go full bore and 100% and do it right.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah.
So, Allyson, your new book, Cold Hardy Fruit and Nuts. Tell us about it and something that our listeners may be inquired about to pick up a copy, because I think a lot of people don't realize that fruit trees, they just think fruit is like a southern thing, and people in the north miss out on that, but that's very incorrect.
Yeah, no, you're right. And one of the things Scott and I found over time, because we would side gig as landscapers and working at other people's gardens, that the two most asked questions or the two most problematic fruit trees that we would see in people's landscapes were always apple trees and peach trees. And we were always being asked, why are these trees failing? Why am I not getting fruit that, is without having any sort of diseases on it? And that journey, that process kind of led us to look at fruiting plants that were lower maintenance that we could grow in the Hudson Valley, and things that at first we had not really ever heard of, but that have a long, rich history. One of them is medlar, which is a wonderful tree that has its origins in the Caucasus Valley, in the Caucasus region in Anatolia and Turkey. And so we started planting that. Maybe we've had a tree in for about 20 years, and we never once have had a single problem with it. And the fruit, which is one of these really unusual fall to winter fruits where the fruit needs to basically blet or rot sugars change, and that changes the consistency of the fruit, meaning that you are now eating something that tastes like applesauce with a little bit of cinnamon or berry flavored. And we were like, why aren't more people growing this very, very low maintenance, pest free tree? And we started seeing that with a lot of things that we were not familiar with, including, let's say, Che and Schisandra vine. So we started being interested in experimenting and seeing how they did here. And for us, they did extremely well, which is really the essence of creating this book, where we wanted to share our trials and evaluations and our joys of having fruit, as well as some nuts that really required very little maintenance and no sprays at all.
Now, both of you can answer this. In your personal opinion, do you have a hypothesis of why some of these fruits and trees and nuts are not commercially pushed? Is it just because they've been lost over time, or they're just the commercial people doesn't think there's money in it to be made?
Both of those reasons. Okay. I think conservatism too. People's concept of fruit is what they get at a supermarket, right. Peaches and apples and strawberries. And there's nothing wrong with those crops, but peaches and apples tend to be sprayed huge amounts. They're some of the most sprayed crops in the United States. And with peaches, it's because of wild cherry trees in our forest, which have about 150 pests. So the difference between a peach and a wild cherry is a few chromosomes and genes. So if you garden in woods in the northern part of the United States, the eastern seaboard to the Midwest, probably, the pests are going to come looking for your trees, is where, as she mentioned, medlar, but like pawpaws and persimmons, our pawpaw and persimmon trees have never had any major pests whatsoever, and they yield pretty consistently in lean, bad years where there's not very much rain, and also in kind of wet years.
I think also the problem, if you want to call it a problem, is a lot of these fruits really need to be eaten standing underneath the tree or right out of hand, right. And that they can't be picked early. So a lot of our fruit industries that the fruit that we get at supermarkets, a lot of it is picked earlier. It's ripened en route in the truck. So you've kind of lost that wild flavor that you get right from eating something off a tree.
Yeah, the classic example of a berry that everybody has in almost every state in the United States that's been ruined is blackberry. Dead ripe blackberries are extraordinarily delicious and rich and sweet and wild, and those need to be picked when they're disintegrating in your hand. That's when the sugar is high, and you cannot do that in a supermarket. So blackberries are picked underripe and sent to supermarkets. So we've had people try some of our blackberries who've only tasted them out of supermarkets and think they are flavorless, kind of plastic tasting stuff with no flavor. And when you have a dead ripe blackberry, it's quite extraordinary. Something as simple as that can be incredibly delicious.
We, as Americans, we have a false palate of what things we think taste like.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I do think that there is now a lot more interest, and you do see pawpaws and American persimmons at local farmer markets, and there's definitely a resurgence with those particular native fruits. I think something like, let's just say, a medlar again, or goji berries. A lot of people know about goji fruit. I don't think people realize it's a fairly easy bushy vine to grow, and that most of the fruit that we get, even if it is quote unquote organic, is coming from China, and there's nothing locally being grown here. So I do think that there's room for these types of markets. It's just getting the word out to farmers, both established and young ones, to get them excited. We're forever expounding on the virtues of Schisandra vine, which is a 5-flavor berry. It's a very, very healthy, nutritive fruit, and you can get it dried at at some local co-ops for $30 a pound. But we're not growing that anywhere within the United States yet. And we're hoping that the book kind of inspires people who want to grow something that hasn't really been done yet that they could try doing that and seeing if there's a market for it. We think there is.
Definitely. So we are talking with Allyson Levy and Scott Serrano, the co-founders of and directors of the Hortus Arboretum and Botanical Gardens in Hudson Valley, New York. What are who are we asking, Allyson or Scott?
Oh, either one.
Either one. Okay. What are some tips for creating more diversity for people in their own backyards?
Yeah, I'd say a lot of the world lives in suburbs and cities and small towns. So small size things that can be fit within a yard. So a grafted self-fertile persimmon like Zucchus, which is spelled Szukis, that's a slow-growing, small, self-fertile persimmon tree that produces kind of butterscotch flavored fruit. Grows slowly, produces gobs and gobs of fruit. That's great. I love quince. The old Mediterranean quince produces really extra. Again, it has to be cooked, so people abandon this. This used to be a popular fruit, but those are great small self-fertile trees that produce jelly that tastes like a cross between peaches and pineapple to me. Honeyberries, which are more from the Arctic regions, kind of like the Canadian tundra and in Siberia. That's a small, wonderful early fruit. It's before strawberries. That's the first kind of more Arctic fruit that comes in northern climates. That's great. Honeyberries.
And some of the smaller cultivars of these particular fruits that Scott's mentioning can be grown in pots as well. So like there's smaller cultivars of blueberry, there's smaller cultivars of honeyberry. You could do a vine and have that kind of creeping either as a ground cover or going upward and on a post. So there are a lot of creative ways that you can incorporate one or two. There are even these trees that they call fruit cocktail trees, where you have more than one graft on a tree. And we're particularly fond of Asian pear for people, where you could be growing 3 different types of varieties of Asian pear, which is not a ginormous tree to begin with. And you could have that on your property and or grow it along the street. And that helps with diversity.
Yeah,
as well.
we love Asian pear because European pears can sometimes take 10 to 12 years to develop. And we've seen small, tiny Asian pear trees that are only maybe 4 or 5 feet tall that are already producing pears. And they tend to be more pest-free than the European ones, so they're a great choice.
Well, you two are very knowledgeable about all of this. Did you both grow up gardening, or did one of you find the other one and kind of influence, or what was the story behind the green thumb connection?
No, it's completely accidental. We're trained as artists, and we sort of stumbled into this and became obsessed with growing things and then eating different types of thing. It was a kind of a natural process, and then it just kind of, like I said, it's like a hobby that kind of went out of control. So, and the way we did that is by buying lots and lots of books and reading and kind of trying things out and experimenting and sometimes failing. Sometimes you learn a lot more from failing than you do from succeeding. And just over a period of many years, things start to stand out as being easy to grow and other things are troublesome. So that's how it was an organic process.
That's definitely very interesting.
The happy accidents of life are the best.
Yep.
Well, we really have enjoyed having you on the show. How can our listeners find more information about you all?
Oh, okay. Well, and thanks for having us on.
Yes, thank you.
One of the easiest ways is to go visit the website of this nonprofit that we run. It's Hortus, spelled Hortus, Gardens with an S, GARDENS.org. And that's the website. It's actually, we're just in the process of redoing a new website for now. This will get you to the other place, and it'll tell you a little bit about us, the history. There's a link to see all the different plants that have been cataloged. If you're in the Hudson Valley, it can. There's a tab that shows you how you can visit, since we're open on the weekends to the public. There's also a way to come visit if you're out of state. We have a little garden cottage at the end of the Arboretum. So visit us online and learn a little bit more about what we're doing, and please order our book. You can do that through Chelsea Green Publishing. That was the publisher for the book as well.
Well, Allyson and Scott, we greatly appreciate the time and the knowledge, not only for Holly and myself, but all of our listeners across the country. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for your interest.
Absolutely. And when we come back, it's your garden questions, our garden answers. You are tuned in to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Protect your plants from damage with the 3-in-1 Plant Guard and Special Blend Fertilizer. Visit ivorganics.com. Use promo code RADIO10 to save 10% off your order.
Brought to you by Blue Ribbon Organics, providing locally made organic compost and soil blends for gardens, farms, landscaping, and more. Visit blueribbonorganics.com or call 262-497-8539 to find their products nearest you. It's a struggle to find fruit that isn't a disappointment or a waste of money, especially peaches at the grocery store. You bring them home, they turn mealy and gross. Well, Tree Ripe Fruit Company has the answer. They deliver fruit straight from the farm, obsessed with quality, so you can actually experience the joy of a great tasting fruit. Love Georgia peaches? Tree Ripe delivers the best peaches you'll ever eat directly from the farm within days of being picked. Peach season starts June 15th and goes through August 4th. In July, they also deliver Michigan blueberries. You can find them at over 400 Peach Stops events throughout the Midwest or have fruit delivered directly to your home. All the event details and ordering information can be found at their website, tree-ripe.com. An extra bonus for you listeners, get 10% off your first purchase when you order online only, tree-ripe.com, by using coupon code HOLLY10, HOLLY. A little bit of summer is what the whole year's all about. Barbecues, parties with friends. The fun is endless, unless the sun or thunderstorms have damaged your outdoor furniture. Keep it looking brand new with custom protective covers from coversandall.com. They have fabric choices for days that are 100% waterproof, coated to protect against sun, and can be custom designed for any size or shape, and placing or removing them. Easy peasy. Visit coversandall.com and use code GARDEN25 at checkout to save 25% on your purchase. Thanks for listening to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. As you've heard through the program, many companies offering coupon codes to help you save on great products. If you've missed any of those coupon codes, you can go to our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, and click on the Money tab at the top of the page, and they're all listed for you. The Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show is brought to you by the following: Tree Ripe, Covers and All, Ironwood Tool Company, Timber Pro Coatings, Blue Ribbon Organics, Natural Green Products, Algae Men, Dr. Zyme, Happy Leaf LED, Rescue, Big Tool Rack, Hot Bin Composting, Proclamation Goods. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Welcome back to the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show. It's our 200th episode. We've said that every time we've come back, but we're proud of that. If you've got a question, it's time for question and answer time. You can certainly send that over to gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Or if you'd like to give us a call, you can certainly do that on the Proclamation Hotline, brought to you by Proclamation Goods. That number is toll-free, coast to coast, 1-800-927-7469. 1-800-927-7469. Or you can just 1-800-927-SHOW.
Proclamation Goods creates cookware for the eco-conscious home chef. Their pans are non-toxic, have a lifetime warranty, and are made in Wisconsin. Their award-winning stainless steel Proclamation Duo cookware set is a 12-inch skillet and stockpot that doubles as a wok. Best of all, the skillet and stockpot hinge together to form a Dutch oven. It's 2 pans with the versatility of 10, empowering you to cook more with less. If you care about your health and strive for a more sustainable lifestyle, then Proclamation Goods is for you. Supply is limited, so order yours now at proclamationgoods.com.
Yes.
I'm really proud of us. This is our 200th show.
200 shows, self-funded through sponsors over the course of the last 6 years. We would not be able to do this without the number of sponsors that have supported the program. Some are still with us from season 1. Others have been with us for a number of years. And some come and go as they feel it's necessary to be on the show and take a year off. So without them, we can't do this. So let's go with this question. It's sponsored by Fleet Farm and fleetfarm.com, Holly. I planted spaghetti squash, and I don't have spaghetti squash. Something's happened here. I've got a cross of something. I did plant it, and here's zucchini, and pumpkins. Could that be the reason that I don't have what I think should be spaghetti squash?
Yeah, you most likely have a cross of zucchini and pumpkin with that spaghetti squash. And then...
That doesn't mean that it happened this year. This was already in the seeds whenever you planted them. Now, if you saved seeds from last year and you had all of them growing in a very small area, that can happen. This is typically coming from the seed company or the farmer who makes the seeds. They have issues. I mean, the farm's only so big, so there can be some cross because they're all in the same family. The pumpkin, zucchini, squash, spaghetti squash are all in the same family. So you can have that cross happen where it looks supposed to be a spaghetti squash, but it's got the tendencies of a zucchini and some stripes of a pumpkin. So you can eat it. It's not going to be as tasty. It's not going to be as, you might have to bake it or boil it or whatever, but it can be consumed, but it's not going to be the flavor in which you think. So keep that in mind. It's not your fault.
It's not your fault. No.
No.
Yeah,
and it's kind of a hit and miss whether, I'm going to plant it and you don't know until it's growing or you harvest it. We had that last year with some spaghetti squash. So, all right. Next question is, what time of year do I trim my Brussels sprouts? They're about 2.5, 3 foot tall right now.
So you do this in early fall?
Yeah. Or when you see
kind of mid.
Yeah, when you see the sprouts.
When you see the sprouts form. So when you start to see those little sprouts, not the super teeny tiny ones, but once they get, less than marble size, then you want to top your sprouts. And
you just take the top 6 inches of the plant off. It's going to look dramatic and bad, but you're stopping the vertical growth and focusing on the fruit development of that plant, the sprout, and it has worked every time we've ever done it. So don't be scared to top that plant off in order to get you good size sprouts. All right, Holly, can I safely can cantaloupe? I've got a ton of it coming out of the garden, which is a good thing. What do I do with it? Thank you.
No, you cannot can cantaloupe. It would probably just be terrible.
Well, cantaloupe was like 93% water,
it's like 93%
and it's
water.
just, you look at it and it falls apart, and
you could probably dehydrate it.
Candy.
Yeah, like a candy.
Well, can't you blanch it, or not blanch it? You can flash freeze it, can't you? Chunk it.
I think you can.
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what would happen once you thaw it. It'd be worth a try.
You wouldn't lose, more like a frozen piece of fruit. You get these bags of fruit at the store, you can buy them, and they've got grapes and cantaloupe and honeydew all frozen in the bags. Now, I don't know how they prepare it at the factory. I don't know how they freeze it that way, but you could certainly freeze it in chunks.
I have a really bad joke.
Oh, well, okay.
What did the one watermelon say to his watermelon wife?
What did he say?
Honey, we can't elope. We're already married.
Okay. Okay. Next question. What would you recommend, plastic watering can or a metal one? Is there advantage or disadvantage to either or both?
I think it really depends on where you live, where you keep your watering can, and
do you care about your watering
can? So we have both.
Yes.
And one was gifted. Our metal one was gifted from my mom to Joey, and then our plastic one I think was found on the side of the road.
Yeah, a couple of them were.
Yeah. Metal ones can rust, and then they can get dinged, and then if you keep it in an outdoor shed or garage, because of heat and cold and everything.
Ours is galvanized, but we did find that it had a hole in it, and we did repair the hole. We got a video on that. It's got a couple of thousand views. Somehow it's a lot, quite interesting. But
another thing to keep in mind is the weight.
The weight, because there's 1 gallon, half gallon. I think there's 3.5 gallon watering cans, or you just get a 5 gallon bucket. If you get a watering can, regardless plastic or metal, be sure the spout, the shower head, can be removed in some form or fashion. So when it gets clogged or particles get in there, you can take it off and flush them out of the actual unit, or get them cleaned out of the actual shower head, because the current one that we have, the metal one, does not have a removable spout on it, which you got to bang around and try to get the particles out if you have dirt in it or gravel or whatever was in the water barrel. That type of thing. So keep that.
That's good to keep in mind. All right, what's our next question?
What is the requirements to grow asparagus? I'm considering it next year and have no clue about it, where to purchase it or start or anything.
Well, you can get the crowns. That's what they're called, the starts or the crowns, from a local garden center.
In spring next year.
Spring next year.
Junk Seeds will have them. 10 TG22, 10 TG22 for 10% off your order.
And you want to plant them basically as soon as the soil can be worked.
Right.
And then there's a whole process. You get the crowns, you dig a trench, you spread the roots out.
I would recommend a 2-year crown over a 1 year because, you're not going to harvest anything substantially until about 4 years in. That's where we will be at next year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I can't believe it.
And there's purple asparagus and green asparagus. The white asparagus is asparagus that has been grown and covered and basically no sun. So we grow the green, Holly, and we will have asparagus. And asparagus can last a long time. Many.
It can last a long time. Some people move into homes and discover that they have asparagus growing.
They've been mowing it over for years and realize what it was. Yeah.
So there's it's definitely worth the time investment and the little investment that you're going to pay for the plants.
Right.
The starts.
If you've moved into a property or you've bought land or whatever the case is, invest $200 or $300 or $400 in fruit trees, nut trees, and perennial plants, and just throw them anywhere on the property, because then you will regret it in 10 years if you didn't do it now. Because we would have, if we knew what we knew now, we would have done things very different, put a lot more perennials in the garden than what we had done, and now we're just trying to catch up. So that's that. So with that being said, we are out of time, and we thank you for yours. Did you miss any portion of the program today or would like to revisit it? You can certainly do that by going to your favorite podcast platform and searching the Gardening with Joy and Holly radio show, or you can send us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com and we will send you a link to this show. Tune in next week to the program where we will be talking about why our tomatoes were trash this year, and we're finding out many others of yours is trash as well as fall property prep, what you should do on your property for fall. And our guest is author Kim Howes Roman, and we'll answer your garden questions. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.